Hello and welcome to Kickoff Conversations, Episode 9. My name is Ray. Thank you for joining us.
And I'm Jake. It's November 1st. We're officially in November. We're getting it's the frost is starting to accumulate on the windshields in the morning.
Yeah,
it is officially full blown late. It's getting late in the year for football season, which is a great time of year because a lot of these games get more meaningful. We get some cold games.
I walked out this morning. It was a little bit frostbitten, and I was like, oh boy, November's here. So everything means a little bit more November.
In the NFL, now we can actually, I always say you can't have the MVP conversation until Thanksgiving. We're getting closer to that date. It's been, I can't believe it's already week 9. It's gone fast.
And we're going to try to make this one quick for y'all. Like Coop said last week, we're in the midst of our busiest season of the year, so we're going to fly through this, but we're going to cover a lot. So let's get right into it. And we're going to start with college this week, the big one. Ohio State, Penn State, 11 a.m. Saturday morning at Penn State. Ohio State coming off of a tough game against my Huskers at home, 21-17. In all reality, they should have lost. Did not look good. Maybe kind of a setup against Penn State. What do you think?
Yeah, they might, as much as you might not want to hear this, they might have been looking past the Huskers. Obviously, looking to this game. This is probably, what was Oregon ranked when they played them? Ohio State played them. Is this a bigger game, or it was Ohio State, Oregon? I think Ohio State, Oregon was probably a little bit bigger of a game. But
yeah. Well, they were number 1 when they faced Oregon, I believe, on the road.
Number 4 versus number 3 in Happy Valley. I have an interesting take on this game personally. I think if Ryan Day loses this game, I think there's going to be a little bit of noise in Columbus, Ohio. I just think the expectations there are so high, and he has continually lost big games when they matter. I think if they lose this game due to a clock management issue, most would say this is unarguably the most talented roster in the country.
This definitely is a noise game because last week I heard with all my Nebraska podcasts that they were booing him during the game at the stadium. And
I don't really know who they would replace him with, but I'm just all those boosters in Ohio State might get a little upset if they lost this game. If they lost this game, I don't even think they would be able to get in the conference championship. They'd have 2 conference losses.
Yeah, I mean, Oregon's definitely going to be in, and this would basically solidify Penn State to get in. And so on the way out of the schedule here, Ohio State has Indiana. So if they win this game and they go beat Indiana, they'll be in the Big Ten championship. But they got
now, to be clear, I have Ohio State winning this game. Do you want me to go into why?
Sure, go ahead.
I just think I don't really trust. I don't even know who's going to play quarterback for Penn State. If Aller was going to play, don't really trust him yet. Who's their backup? You might know. I honestly don't know.
His name is starts with a P, like Primple or
I don't like
Prebbles
any
or something.
backups' chance to beat to play in this type of a game, a top 5 matchup. It is at home, so that will help whoever is playing quarterback. But I think Ohio State's going to come out and play well. I think they are probably a little bit upset about how poorly they played last week against Nebraska. Like Ray said earlier, Nebraska really should have won that game. Currently, Ohio State's favored by 3. I think that's probably pretty accurate. It's going to be a close game, I think. It'll be interesting to see what Penn State's new offensive coordinator, Kotelnicki, will pull out. He's one of the best play designers in the country, so it'll be very interesting to see what he does, but also if he's going to be limited with a backup quarterback in this game. But overall, I think it's going to be a really good game. I wish it was not 11 o'clock kickoff. I wish it was under the lights. But I overall think Ohio State's going to win, and I think it'll be tight.
I'm going to zag. I have Penn State for a couple reasons. One, our defensive line dominated Ohio State's offensive line. Their left tackle is out. So they put a backup in who also got hurt, and then they started shuffling their left guard or right guard over to left tackle. I just think that shuffling's going to be tough. The offensive line's got to be cohesive, and that left tackle that they lost is, I think, a first-round pick potentially. Also, you're right. I do think at 7 p.m., I think this game is easy pick for Penn State if it's a 7 p.m. game, but it being 11, I think it makes it a little bit closer. The deciding factor for me and why I pick Penn State is even if the backup quarterback's in, he played pretty well in the second half when Aller went out. But I think Kotelnicki is going to be the difference. They've always historically struggled with Ohio State, and it's like they've got something bad about them with that, their matchup. But I think Kotelnicki brings it in. They prepare him. He's going to have some weird things that he's going to do. And on the back end of it, Penn State's defense has only give up 30 total points all year in the second half. So I think Penn State gets a lead. Kotelnicki can hold on to it. He's going to have the whole playbook ready to go. You already know that because it's the biggest game of the year. This basically, if they win this one, I think the back half of their schedule for Penn State isn't as tough as Ohio State. So I think they know that, hey, this is the one they got to get. And I think at home, Kotelnicki is going to get it done for them. Notice I say Kotelnicki and not Franklin. This is all on Kotelnicki. I like him a lot. I got Penn State. So give me the points. Give me everything.
Okay, we're on opposite sides there.
Real quick, let's talk Oregon, Michigan. I think we also disagree on this one a little bit as well. I think Oregon is going to win. I don't think they're going to cover. 2:30 kick, not a night game. But I don't know what it is. It's just playing at Michigan. I feel like people can struggle. They're going to probably try to control the ball as they always do because they can't throw it. Not a whole lot to say about it all, to be honest, but I just feel like they're not going to cover that game. It's going to be a tight one. And,
I don't know about them necessarily covering 14, but I think they're going to win by double digits, 10 plus. I mean, Michigan scores 20 points a game. They're 110th in the country in scoring. Oregon's eventually going to score. Dylan Gabriel has proven that. And Oregon's defense is better statistically than Michigan's defense. So you have a combination of, one, Michigan already cannot score, and then two, they're going against one of the better defenses numbers-wise in the Big Ten. It'll probably be cold up there, I'm guessing. So their lack of a throwing game will be even less than what it already is. I just don't think it's a good matchup. I think Oregon can be explosive offensively. I think Michigan can't do anything against me and you on if we were playing defense, and I think Oregon has good defense. So it'll be interesting. I don't know when Michigan has had this bad of a season, or when the last time they had this bad of a season. Probably Harbaugh's first year, maybe. Maybe for his first or second year.
Yeah, they struggled a little bit the first 4 or 5 years he was there, but yeah, I think it'll be a little bit closer than you think. I do think Oregon obviously pulls it out, but just something's giving me the heebie-jeebies about it. So, okay,
let's talk about my Kansas Jayhawks for 30 seconds.
No, let's go back. Kansas State, Kansas.
Yeah,
with the game.
We gave another game away. If you didn't watch the game. Basically, we're driving. I think it's tied at this point. We're kind of driving. We're on like our own 45, getting ready to cross over midfield. It's third and about, we're up 1 at this point. It's third and about 20 due to a holding penalty. And we basically had what we needed to try to do was we needed to stay in bounds, gain probably 5 or 10 yards, have a good punt, and pin them deep with under 2 minutes left, and I believe 1 timeout. And you basically put the game on the defense and say, hey, go out and try and win this thing. Daniels scrambles, gets hit, fumbles, turns the ball over. They have the ball on the 50-yard line with 2 minutes left, 1 timeout, and they need to kick a field goal to win. That's exactly what happened. Another costly turnover by Daniels. He's he's been playing a lot better, but man, he just has some horribly timed turnovers, and this is just the story of Kansas' season, is they're going to find a way to lose late. I don't place this on Lance Leipold at all. I actually think we outplayed K-State majority of the game. We just two horribly timed turnovers. One was right before half when we had a chance to take an even bigger lead. He throws a pick that was in the end zone. They returned it like 50 yards. And then the second one, a fumble when you were up one with 2 minutes left, giving the ball back. So just the story of Kansas' year, really disappointing. K-State, you have Kansas' number, unfortunately. This week, though, on a positive note, Kansas went out and got the number one quarterback in the state of Kansas out of Wichita this week, committed to Kansas. But
Well, good for them.
I'm already looking ahead to recruiting. That's how bad our season is. It's November 1st, and I'm already looking at recruiting. Hey, other thing, Devin Neal is now the all-time leading touchdown scorer in Kansas history. He needs 5 yards to become the all-time leading rusher, and he needs one more touchdown to break the tie for all-time leading rushing touchdowns in Kansas. Basically, he's the best Kansas college player in history. So that's pretty cool.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm looking at the schedule here. You got the two best teams in the Big 12, arguably maybe three. If you count Kansas State, you had 4 of the last 5 games against the best teams in the conference. So, wow.
I'm hoping we can win 2 more games this year.
Yeah,
It would be
Colorado
a positive.
would be great.
If we can not, we have 2 ranked. We have 2 top 25 teams coming up. We got at Iowa State, and then we got BYU. Actually, Colorado is ranked right now too. 3 of our last 4 are ranked.
Yeah, it's
so it'll be interesting. They'll figure out a way to probably play them tight, and then they'll blow it late. So
as long as you beat Colorado, that'd be fun.
Let's talk about your Huskers.
We want to talk about Kansas State real quick while we're on them. Or you want to go?
Really.
Okay. Well, they're probably going to blow out Houston. So
yeah, you guys play Houston. Congrats. You'll win that game. You'll be in the Big 12 title game and probably squeak in the playoffs somehow.
Yeah. Nebraska on the road against Ohio State last week.
I was wrong on this game. Wow.
I was wrong as well. I thought we were going to get killed. I think everybody was. Came out and answered the call from a defensive perspective. Played very, very well. They were fit in every run play. They were outside of the first 2 touchdowns. Our secondary, it's a conversation for the offseason, but man, they just really pissed me off. But they gave up 2 kind of easy touchdowns. And then outside of that, it was slim pickings between what Ohio State could do. We held their 2 running backs to like 67 yards total, which is kind of crazy. Maybe that's because that offensive line is shuffling around and injured up. But I was very happy with how they played. And the common denominator, you talk about Kansas, final fourth quarter, final possession errors. It's history repeats itself. Same thing with Nebraska. We have 1 fumble, typically a game that ruins it for us from Dowdell, our running back. He always fumbles the ball in a big point. Or, in this case and scenario, our offensive play calling. We called 4 or 3 screen passes in a row on our final drive to put us in a position to win the ball game. And
people are coming for that offensive coordinator. People want his. They want him gone, from what I know, or from what I've heard anyway.
I was really worried about Dylan after the game. I mean, after watching him all season kind of struggle through this and have to deal with it, I was really worried about him, maybe thinking about jumping ship. I kind of said that last week, but I don't know what Matt Rule's doing or if this is truly how Dylan feels, but a lot of these offensive players this week came out and basically said that, hey, it's on us. Our coaches are getting a lot of flack for it, but really if I would make this block or I would make this throw or if I would tuck it and run it here, Dylan basically stood up for the offensive coordinator. So maybe it's not as bad as I think. Maybe it is much like you just said, a little bit on the players. But despite only losing by 4 and it being a tight game, I was very happy with how they played. And we got 4 games here that we can win. We got to get bowl eligible this week at home. We're favored by 7 against UCLA, who has been getting better every week.
I think you guys are going to cover that. I think you guys are going to come out and just It's going to be cold, probably colder, especially compared to what UCLA is used to. It'll be interesting to see how these California teams start to do with Big Ten weather later in the year.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think you guys are going to go out there and just out physical them and just I think you guys are going to roll these dudes this weekend.
Offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy.
Yep.
Kind of heard this. He doesn't really have an offense. He just kind of calls plays, which is interesting to me.
Well, he's very he doesn't necessarily have a system. He does whatever fits his players best is what he's like known for saying.
Yeah, that
like
was,
most coaches have a system like Andy Reid is the West Coast system. He runs that system.
Yeah, that was
Bieniemy's
interesting.
very public about I don't have a system. I'll run whatever my players are best or whatever fits their skills, which I think is smart.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we'll cover the spread at 7 and get bowl eligible for the first time since 2016. So hopefully I'm not here next week griping about play calling. Hopefully they make a change or figure it out. All right. Anything else, college, we need to cover outside of my lock? Well, fellas, I'm sorry. I'm 3-6. Hopefully you're not really taking mine or you're fading me like I've told you to do. But, hey, we got a few weeks here. I could get back to even before the end of the year. This is growing.
You could go on a heater to end the year and then into the playoffs of the NFL
that's right.
and college season.
That could really help me out. My lock this week, Illinois at home, 11 a.m. kick against Minnesota.
Minnesota.
I like this one because this is just strange to me. Minnesota's favored by 3. Illinois doesn't appear to have any big players out, as well as Minnesota. I mean, PJ Fleck, nobody likes him. But they have been playing somewhat well. They have been playing somewhat well.
Assuming no one likes PJ Fleck.
I don't think anybody does. I know Nebraska people don't. So I'll speak on it for that reason. But I think at home, Illinois, they probably take care of business, and it just makes it an easy pick for me because Minnesota's favored by 3. Illinois being 6-2, they got a little bit fight left here. I don't know if they're going to place themselves in any playoff conversation. They probably have to have some things happen for them, as well as, I don't think they're getting the Big Ten championship, but they have to have some things happen. But this would be a bad game to lose at home, given the season that they've had. So I'm going to take it with the big boy, Belema. I think he's going to take him at home. So that's my lock of the week. Take it to the bank. I am confident on this one. I am very confident in this one. Let's get back to even here so I can get to 4-6.
Well, that wouldn't get you to even. But
well, we're starting to build week by week. Week by week, we're getting better.
I just mess with you. All right, let's go into some NFL. Let's start with the Chiefs. We'll go with last week with the Raiders. Ended up being a 7-point game. Was never once remotely worried about this game at all. Raiders kind of scored a garbage time touchdown, outscored them. It would have been 10-0 in the fourth quarter. Patrick's starting to turn it on. He did throw another interception. Once again, another what I would consider unlucky interception. A tipped ball from the defensive line. He's starting to get it cranking a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about DeAndre Hopkins. He actually played a little bit more than I had thought. His snaps were a little bit higher than I thought. I said 12 to 15. He ended up playing 19 snaps. He had a couple big catches, actually. He had a big catch in the fourth quarter. One of the last drives, the Chiefs basically sealed the game and went up 14. He had a big catch, and this week's going to be interesting. We play at home Monday Night Football against Tampa Bay. It's supposed to rain that night, so it'll be interesting to see how much Andy comes out and throws the ball. But I think he's going to start to get more and more involved in the offense. From what I saw from him week 1, I'm actually more encouraged. I feel better about him after seeing him play week 1 for the Chiefs in 1 week compared to what I did prior to seeing him play with us. So I'm pretty encouraged by that.
Couple cool things that I don't know if they said it during the broadcast at all, but what I see now is Mahomes' youngest player ever to eclipse 30,000 yards.
Yep.
in his 103rd game. That's pretty cool, as well as Travis Kelce catching his 75th touchdown pass to pass Jason Witten.
By the way,
NFL tight end
you
list.
remember early in the year, about through week 2 or 3, everyone was like, is Kelce done?
Yeah.
What's going on with this guy? This guy always just finds a way to crank it up later in the year.
And this is not good for the NFL. If they're cranking it up 7-0, kind of starting to figure things out.
Also,
Yikes.
they signed a pass rusher this week, Joshua Uche, or Uche, I don't really know exactly how to say it, out of Michigan. An elite speed. He has elite speed traits. He's had he really has had a down last 2 years. 2022, he had 11 sacks. He provides something that the Chiefs currently don't have, though, so I like that. Most of the Chiefs' pass rushers are just predominantly power guys. George Karlaftis, power. Felix Anudike-Uzomah doesn't really have like signature moves. He's not like a developed professional pass rusher yet. Chris Jones, mainly power. When Charles Omenihu gets back, power. So this is something that they can pair and kind of throw something different at opposing teams, is that speed around the edge, being able to dip under the tackle. So I really like that move. And also, there's some video surfacing. Pacheco is starting to, he's walking around. He's jogging on a treadmill. I'm telling you, whenever they get Pacheco and Kareem Hunt back, this is going to be good, along with they expect Hollywood Brown to be back before the playoffs. So you're going to have Hollywood Brown, you're going to have DeAndre Hopkins, and you're going to have Xavier Worthy along with Travis Kelce. I think that bodes very well. I think this is typically what the Chiefs do. They start to get rolling late in the year. I expect them to roll over Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is going to be without Mike Evans. They're going to be without Chris Godwin. It's also probably going to be raining, which hurts. Tampa throws the ball more than any team in the NFL, numbers-wise and temps-wise. They have one of the worst rushing offenses in the league. And so I think the rain is just going to hurt that. Baker's little hands aren't going to be able to grip the wet ball. So I think the Chiefs are going to come out and handle business. I don't really care if they cover the spread. Spread's currently, yesterday it was at 9.5. It has came down to 8.5. It's a lot of points for an NFL game, especially the Chiefs when they typically play people tight, which is kind of how it is. But I like the Chiefs to win, go to 8-0. That'll be 14 straight wins. So yeah, I don't know if you want to add anything.
Yeah,
there.
I mean, if you look at everything statistically, everything you just said is right. Buccaneers defense, they've given up 31 points the last 3 of their 4 games, all losses.
Bucks have the 28th worst scoring defense in the league.
Yeah, and with the Chiefs kind of picking it up, peppering it up. Normally, I always like to play NFL games close and say, hey, the 8 points, you can't ever bet against it. I think if you look at it statistically, the only thing that you just said that worries me is the rain that would keep this game close. But outside of everything else, the Buccaneers don't have their wide receivers, all of those guys.
Hopefully it doesn't rain.
If it doesn't rain, I mean, I'm going to take the Chiefs here. I'll take the points as well, minus 8.5. I think that they blow them out, and hopefully it is a blowout. But with the NFL and how they kind of rig things at times, to me, Monday Night Football, prime time, all the eyes watching all over the world, I could see them wanting to make it nice and close. But I'm going to take 8.5 Chiefs.
Okay. Let's go to my lock of the week. My lock hit again last week. I believe I'm 7-2.
It's on a heater.
I'm 7-2 with NFL picks. I had Atlanta to cover the 2-point spread against Tampa Bay. They ended up winning by 5. This week, this is a really big game actually for NFC standings. I'm gonna take it's Detroit Green Bay. Detroit is at Green Bay. It's gonna be in Lambeau. High of about 52 degrees. Chance of rain. Jordan Love has been banged up. His first day of practice this week was Thursday. Still listed as questionable. I actually expect that he's going to play, but I think he's going to be a little bit hobbled. Currently, Detroit is favored by 2.5. I think Detroit covers that. I think it's going to be just a typical NFC North game. Colder weather conditions are going to come into play, but I just think Detroit's overall a better team. I think they run the ball better. I trust Goff better, trust Goff more. Detroit's defense has made huge strides even without Aiden Hutchinson. This is probably their biggest game of the year thus far. So I'm excited to see how Goff reacts. I really like Amon-Ra St. Brown. I like a lot of things about this Detroit team. I think they control the line of scrimmage. They have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. So
Yeah, I've heard that like going back the last 10, 15 years, this is like one of the best offensive lines. Would you say the same?
no, I
No?
wouldn't. I think it's
They're saying this stacks up with like the Eagles.
main reason I don't think that
The
is I don't think
Cowboys
their
in
left
2016.
tackle's elite, and I think that's the most important. Their right tackle is the best in football, but I don't think their left tackle is elite. I think they're
Interesting
good.
take.
I think their scheme helps them. So I'm taking Detroit to cover 2.5. They're going to win by 3+. Take it to the bank. If I win that'll take me to 8-2
Wow.
on the NFL year. So
If you aren't making money, just put your paycheck on Coop. Go ahead and do it. All right, y'all. Appreciate you this week. Locks are Illinois and
Detroit.
and the Lions.
Yep.
Um,
Shout out to Jada Dorsey for the Lions pick.
The Lions pick. Yeah. My wife is from Detroit, if anybody doesn't know. So there you go. All right, y'all. Have a great week. Thanks for joining us for a short episode. Like, subscribe, share with your friends.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Get us out there. We appreciate you guys.
Thanks,
Have
guys.
an awesome weekend and enjoy this football.